Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the spring campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. The Dreamers descended into the Dreamlands during their first scenario last week, so now we're going to spend the morning with the Waking Investigators as they face their first scenario, Waking Nightmare. First up, let's set the scene for this scenario.
Scenario 1B, Waking Nightmare. It has been more than 24 hours since your companions fell asleep. Over the course of the past day, your curiosity has slowly turned to concern and then dread. The problem began when one of your friends started to toss and turn violently in their sleep. You snapped to attention and tried to shake them awake, but it was to no avail. You tried everything. Physical contact was no use, and water did nothing but soak their clothes and bed fruitlessly. Even opening their eyelids did not wake them, and in the process, you noticed that their pupils had fully dilated and their eyes were glazed over with a milky white fog. You have no idea what this could mean for your friends. Have they managed to find their way to the land Virgil Grey described in his writings? Or has something more sinister taken root within their minds and bodies? Just to be safe, you decide to take your companions to St. Mary's Hospital. If something ails them physically, perhaps the doctors there can discern what is wrong. Otherwise, you will simply have to watch over them and hope they return safely to the waking world. St. Mary's is the only hospital in the town of Arkham, and it is a fixture of its uptown neighborhood. You explain the situation to Nurse Greenberg, the head nurse at the hospital, who instructs several other nurses to carry your companions into the emergency ward on stretchers. She tells you with a warm, friendly smile that your doctors will be examined by Dr. Maheswaran, but other than that, you are left entirely in the dark. Hours pass. You hear nothing about the status of your companions. You still have not met with Dr. Maheswaran, and you're starting to grow impatient. You feel something crawling along your arm, and you instinctively brush it away. Then wonder if it was an insect or a figment of your imagination. You begin to question whether bringing your friends here was the right choice after all. Eventually, you decide to take matters into your own hands. It is late at night, and the receptionist who instructed you to stay in the waiting room is nowhere to be seen. In fact, there are eerily few people roaming the halls of the hospital. With nobody to stop you, you sneak off into the emergency ward to find your friends. It does not take long for you to find their room. Your companions lie asleep on clean, white cots, their sleep anything but peaceful. They are pale-faced and sweaty. One of them tosses and turns in their sleep, their brow furrowed with pain or worry. Dr. Maheswaran does not seem surprised by your intrusion. Shivani Maheswaran, she introduces herself coldly without looking up from her clipboard. You're the ones who brought them in, right? Before you ask, no, I've never seen anything like this before in my life, she says with a hint of dry impatience. You demand that she tell you everything she knows about their condition and not give you the runaround. With a sigh, she puts her clipboard down and addresses you frankly. Listen, I may be new to Arkham, but I've seen enough inexplicable maladies in this town to fill entire careers in medicine. I understand why you are concerned. Your friends, she struggles to find the right words. They're not simply asleep. It is as if they are hovering somewhere between sleep and unconsciousness, or even death. They are not aware of anything happening around them, but appear to be reacting to some kind of internal stimuli. Without hesitation, you ask if they are dreaming. Dreaming, Dr. Maheswaran replies. It is unlikely, though it might account for their mannerisms. Honestly, and I know this is not exactly reassuring, none of this makes any sense to me, medically speaking. Just then, you see a large, hairy spider crawling on the chest of one of your friends. Well, that is odd. Dr. Maheswaran brushes the spider off, and several more emerge from the sheets to take its place. You and the doctor both take several steps back out of pure instinct. You hear heavy footsteps in the hallway outside the emergency ward, and then the lights begin to flicker. Okay, that is more than simply odd. What in the world is going on out there? Dr. Maheswaran asks anxiously. For just a moment, you think you hear one of your sleeping companions whisper something. Are they indeed dreaming? And if so, what does their condition have to do with these strange events? The investigators must decide. Choose one. Convince Dr. Maheswaran to come with you while you investigate for her safety and yours. Proceed to Intro 1. Convince Dr. Maheswaran to stay with the patients, or proceed to Intro 2. Convince Dr. Maheswaran to stay with the patients and keep them safe while you investigate. Proceed to Intro 3.
Okay, so we either have Dr. Maheswaran join us or have her stay with Jenny and Luke. Given that Jenny and Luke probably aren't going anywhere in this present state, and there seems to be nothing we can do for them, I think we're going to bring Dr. Maheswaran with us. So that'll bring us to Intro 2.
Waking Nightmare Intro 2. Yes, I suppose that makes sense. There has been no change in their condition for the past few hours anyway. Dr. Maheswaran's gaze shifts nervously to and fro, searching for more spiders. Also, I'd very much like to get out of this room now, so lead the way, she adds. You nod and venture back into the hospital's waiting room. Recording your campaign log, Dr. Maheswaran joined the investigation.
Alright, I was starting to make some notes of that. Okay. Now, because Dr. Maheswaran joined the investigators, that gives us access to Dr. Shivani Maheswaran, emergency physician. As a fast action, exhaust Dr. Maheswaran to automatically evade and engage suspicious orderly. When an investigator reveals a skull or cultist token on an infestation token, remove Dr. Maheswaran from the game, cancel that token, and return it to the infestation bag. 1 health, 3 sanity on soak. That will be going under Sister Mary's control. Well, she will be going under Sister Mary's control. So, next up, let's remind everyone what the tarot reading was. On the good side, we left Strength 8. So when the game begins, each investigator may play an asset from their hand at -2 cost. On the bad side, once again, we have the Chariot 7. Each investigator begins the game with 2 fewer cards in opening hand, and can't draw cards during their first turn. So, in other words, that means we can't fix our bad hand. If we've got a bad hand, we can't fix that. Speaking of opening hands, let's take a look at that. Sister Mary, as I mentioned, will be our lead investigator. So she'll start off with the lone asset in both opening hands, as a spoiler alert. Greta Wagner, the Purifier. 5 cost to play, lore and combat on commit. You get +1 combat, and as a fast action, after you defeat an enemy, exhaust Greta Wagner and deal 1 damage to her. Discover 1 clue at your location. With Iron and Salt, with Water and Fire. 3 health and 2 sanity on soak. She takes up the ally slot. Then we have an event. Monster Slayer. 0 cost to play, wild card on commit. Fight, dealing +1 damage. And Spectral Razor. 2 cost to play, will, combat on commit. Fight plus will to your skill value for the attack. Immediately before this attack, you may engage the attacked enemy. This attack deals +1 damage, +2 instead if the enemy is non-elite. Then looking at Trish's opening hand, which I am very much unhappy with, we have a deduction. Lore on commit, and if you're successful while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location. 21 or bust, which we should be very familiar with from Jenny last week. 2 cost to play, combat, agility on commit. Basically, you're playing blackjack. 1 at a time, reveal random tokens from the chaos bag until you choose to stop. Treat each bad symbol except the tentacle as a 5, the tentacle as a 10, and the elder sign is either a 1 or 11. If the combined value of these tokens, ignoring plus or minus, is 18 or less, gain 4 resources. 19, 5, 26, and 21 gives you 9 resources. And Backstab. 3 cost to play, combat, agility on commit. Fight using agility instead of combat, and the attack deals +2 damage. Alright, next up let's take a look at the Act and Agenda decks. Our first agenda, Halls of St. Mary's. A heavy, ominous feeling haunts you as you explore St. Mary's Hospital. Its halls are eerily dark and empty of everything but the occasional orderly making the late-night rounds. Lights flicker, and shadows seem to dart from corner to corner. The hospital's maze of corridors has begun to take on an almost dreamlike haziness. You notice yet another spider crawling up your leg and brush it away, wondering what is causing them to appear so often. Too doomed to advance there. And then looking at our first act, looking for answers. Something is wrong with your companions, and while medical science has come far, it can't account for what is happening to them. You've decided to take it upon yourself to figure out what is wrong and set things right. 4 per investigator, aka 8 doomed to advance there. Alright, last up, the ladies will move over to the map, so let's join them there. The ladies are starting out in the waiting room. So let's take a look at this. The hospital's waiting room is pleasant but boring, with several rows of benches and chairs. Nearby, a short bookshelf is filled with a variety of reading material, most of which you find dreadfully monotonous. Flips into Shroud of 3, 2 clues. While it's not infested, it gains action resign. You flee the hospital, leaving your companions behind. In the corner of the windows, silken webbing creeps along the glass, spun almost of its own accord. Was that there when you first arrived? We'll get the 2 clues out for that. So we've definitely got a toodaloo button at this point. Nothing is relevant on the unrevealed side for these locations. Actually, there's that's a two-way connection between the emergency room and the experimental therapies ward. So yeah, there is a connection there. I just wanted to make sure of that. We're all set, so I think we're declaring start of game, which means now Strength 8 takes effect. Unfortunately, Trish doesn't have any assets to play, but Sister Mary does. She will play out the aforementioned Greta Wagner at at minus 2 cost is what that is. Now that we got that figured out, our first investigator, I think, for the first investigation phase is going to be Trish, and I think we're going to stay right here at the map. Since we can't draw cards to fix Trish's dreadful opening hand, I think the only thing we can really do right now is just poke around and explore. So I think we'll start off by going into the emergency room for Action 1 with Trish. We'll take a look at the emergency room. You peek into the emergency ward and find several other rooms besides the one where your companions are being kept. This flips into Shroud of 2, 2 clues. While you're in the emergency room, each of your skill tests gets +1 difficulty for each card committed to it. This room contains the aftermath of what must have been a gruesome admission. Splatters of dried blood cover the mattress in the center of the room, and medical supplies, bandages, gauzes, and syringes litter the floor. Victory 1. We'll get the 2 clues there. Trish is already base up 2 for investigation, so I think that's what she'll test at. So Action 2, she'll investigate up 2. -1 gets her a clue. And Action 3, she'll run that back. Once again, up 2. There's another -1, maybe the same -1, but it is enough to get Trish the other clue off the location. So that'll do it for Trish. Over to Sister Mary now. She's going to move down to the experimental therapies ward. And here we'll take a look at this. A sign over this hallway reads, Experimental Therapies. You're not sure what sorts of remedies that staff at St. Mary's experiment with, and you're not sure you want to know. Flips into Shroud of 4, 4 clues. As a reaction, when you investigate Experimental Therapies ward, take 1 horror. Experimental Therapies ward gets -2 shroud for this investigation. This room is filled with beds, each one surrounded by a partition curtain. High-tech machines sit next to each bed, ready to administer all sorts of radical treatments. Victory 2. Alright, so we'll get the 4 clues out for that. Probably a good thing we saved Trish's deduction in hand for coming over here. Let's see. Action 2 for Sister Mary. Taking a horror would get her down to even, so that's probably not a good play right now. And we can't draw cards to try to find her a weapon. Although we did just clean her out of more than half of her resources to play out Greta. So I think for actions 2 and 3, we're going to set up for next turn and take 2 resources. Not the most exciting turn in the world, but when we can't draw to try to fix our opening hand, there's not much we can do about that. That will do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, first round of the game. So 9 times out of 10 in the first round of the game, there won't be any enemies to deal with. This is one of the 9. So we'll flip Sister Mary and Trish over. And then we'll move back up top after resetting everything for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary will gain 1 resource and go to 5. Trish will gain 1 and go to 6. Sister Mary will draw. Crisis of Faith. Oh, wonderful. Revelation. For each blessed token in the chaos bag, you must either replace it with the curse or take 1 horror. Actually, we should have... Okay, we're not at end of round yet. Sister Mary will actually take 2 horror to keep the 2 blessed tokens in the bag. Trish will draw. I've got a plan. 3 costs to play, lore, and will, and combat on commit. Fight using lore. That you deal +1 damage for this attack for each clue you have to a max of +3. Now we're at end of round, so now we're putting another blessed token, which functions as a +2 and draw again. The curses will be -2 and draw again. We'll put that in the bag, and then we'll adjust our counter here. Other way, up to 3 blessed tokens in the bag. This dial for the blessed and curse tokens actually comes with a Feast of Hemlock Vale. It's actually a very nice tracker for how many blessed and curse tokens are in the bag. That way, we're no longer having to count how many blessed and curse tokens are in the bag. You just have to remember to pay attention to updating the dial when you put blessed or curse tokens in the bag. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes up to 1. Sister Mary will draw. Glimpse of the Underworld. Put Glimpse of the Underworld into play in your threat area. Forced. When you take damage and or horror, take 1 additional damage and or horror. Fast action to discard it, then take 1 and 1. Trish will draw. Frozen in Fear. Revelation, put it into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade, each round, it costs 1 additional action. Forced. At the end of your turn, test Will 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. Unfortunately, Trish would be testing down 1 on that, so that's not a great spot to be in right off the bat. But that will do it for the Mythos phase, and I think as a fast action, Sister Mary will discard Glimpse of the Underworld right away. She's going to be our primary damage dealer, so I don't want her taking more damage and horror than necessary. So we're going to get rid of that right away, even though that puts her already a third of the way to being defeated by Sanity. But I don't think there's any help for that at this point. Anyway, now that's it for the Mythos phase. Moving into the investigation phase, Trish's turn will take us over to the map. Unfortunately, Trish's first action is going to cost us 2 actions, but I don't think we can help it at this point, so we're going to move over to the Experimental Therapies ward. I always want to say Experimental Theories ward for whatever reason. And then for action 3, she's going to investigate committing a deduction. I knew I had seen this symbol before. I must warn the others before it's too late. And then Trish is also going to take a horror, to knock the shroud down by 2, which means with deduction, Trish is now up 3. There's a bless, so Trish is up 5. Elder Thing is minus X, where X is the number of infested locations. Right now that's 0. So Trish will get 2 clues. The bless, unfortunately, does come out of the bag. I wish we could have kept that for Trish's test on Frozen and Fear coming up here in about 5 seconds. So yes, Trish will have to test Frozen and Fear. She's based down 1. And is there anything that we can commit to it? There is not. So Trish is going to have to test down 1 and hope for a pull. Well, +1 is a pull, and that's what we were hoping for, which means Trish is no longer frozen in fear. So that will do it for Trish. Sister Mary, now that we can draw, I think drawing cards is probably a good thing to do right now. So action 1, she will draw. Hallowed Mirror, 2 cost to play, will on commit. Limit 1 per deck. Forced, after Hallowed Mirror enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Soothing Melody. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Hallowed Mirror leaves play, find each of those copies of Soothing Melody, even if they're out of play, and remove them from the game. That's not the asset I had in mind. That's not what I had in mind when I wanted to start drawing cards, but that's a good one. I think we're going to sit on it for now, though. In action 2, Sister Mary will draw again. She will draw another Monster Slayer. I'm really looking for a weapon right now. I know I put some in the deck, so action 3, Sister Mary will draw again. She will draw Storm of Spirits. 3 cost to play, will, combat on commit. Fight using will instead of combat. If you succeed instead of its standard damage, this attack deals 2 damage to each enemy at your location. Any additional damage is dealt to the attacked enemy. But if you pull a bad symbol during the attack, deal 1 damage to each investigator at your location. That's not a great situation to be in. I'm pretty sure I put weapons in the deck, but that'll do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, still no enemies in play, so we'll flip our ladies over, reset everything, and then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource and goes to 6. Trish gains 1 and goes to 7. Sister Mary draws Evidence, 1 cost to play, 2 will on commit. Fast, play after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. Trish will draw Dr. Milan Christopher. He is a sight for sore eyes. You get +1 lore, and after you successfully investigate, gain a resource. Mythos phase, we are putting our second Doom on the first agenda, and we're advancing that right away. So here we'll find Unsettling Developments. As you continue to explore the hospital, the oddities you have observed become more and more frequent. Thick, dark cobwebs now cover the corners of every room. Spiders crawl along the walls and the ceilings, emerging from seemingly nowhere and vanishing just as quickly. It's not just your imagination. An infestation of spiders has quickly taken root within the hospital. And not just any spiders. They are larger than average, with long, jagged barbed legs and great hairy abdomens. Perhaps even more worrying is the complete lack of hospital staff roaming the halls. Aside from several wary and frightened orderlies, you see no other staff members, not even any nurses or doctors. Where has everyone gone? Shuffle the set-aside Spiders Encounter set and each set-aside copy of Outbreak into the deck, along with the discard pile. Draw the set-aside The Infestation Begins story card and resolve its text. First of all, before I do any of that, I'm putting another Bless token in the bag because that's Sister Mary's ability. That'll bring the dial up for bless tokens to 3. Then we're shuffling spiders. Then we're shuffling the spiders encounter set. Along with Outbreak, yes. Let's see, which one is the spiders encounter set? I believe, okay. Right, so we'll give the encounter deck a good shuffle. Alright, that's all set. So now we want the infestation begins. Here we go. The infestation begins. Place 1 damage token on the location with the most clues. The 2 locations with the most clues if there are 3 or 4 investigators in the game. For the remainder of the scenario, damage tokens on locations represent the spreading infestation. Each location with a damage token on it is an infested location. Create a separate bag consisting of the following tokens: Skull, 4 runes, 2 cultists. If you don't have a second bag, which I do, we'll be getting that set up in a minute. Yada yada yada. This is the infestation bag, and these are infestation tokens. They are not chaos tokens. Some abilities will instruct the players to make an infestation test. An infestation test may cause the infestation to spread to other locations or endanger investigators at infested locations. To resolve an infestation test, an investigator must reveal a random infestation token from the infestation bag and resolve the effects for that token as indicated on the other side of this card. Flip this card over and place it next to the scenario reference card. We'll do that in a minute, but first we're going to place a damage on the location with the most clues, which there are 2 right now that have 2 clues on them, so we get to choose where it goes. I think we're going to put it on the waiting room, which means our resign button is now gone. Then we need the infestation bag. So this flames bag is going to be the infestation bag. Let's see, we want... Skull. 1, 2, 3, 4 runes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. And 2 cultists. So those will go into the infestation bag. We'll give that a shake up. Trying to make sure they get nice and randomized. Okay, I think we're good there. And then we flip that over. Alright, so here's the infestation test. Use these results only when revealing infestation tokens from the infestation bag. On a skull, set the token aside. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for a spider enemy and spawn it at the infested location nearest to any investigator. Rune, set this token aside. And cultist, set this token aside. Choose a location connected to an infested location. That location becomes infested. Place a damage token on it to mark this. Then, if there are 2 or more cultists set aside, return all set aside infestation tokens to the infestation bag. Hopefully we'll say infestation a little bit less. Unfortunately, we'll still be saying it on a near constant stream, but just anyway. Speaking of which, Agenda 2A. The infestation spreads. A monstrous presence has infested St. Mary's. It lies within the walls and watches you from all sides. In mere minutes, it has spun thick, sticky webbing throughout each of the rooms you visit. The lights are either flickering or out across the hospital, and some of the more advanced medical machinery is broken and covered in cobwebs. Forced, at the end of the Mythos phase, make an infestation test, and we need 6 doom to advance. Delightful. Sister Mary will draw. Dissonant Voices. Revelation, put dissonant voices into play in your threat area. You can't play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard dissonant voices. Oh, that's fun. Trish will draw. Frozen in Fear's back again. Joy. Well, at the end of the Mythos phase, we do make an infestation test. So now we come into the bag. So this is an infestation token now, not a chaos token. And of course we find a cultist. Which choose a location connected to an infested location. That location becomes infested. I think we're going to infest the emergency room next. Once I remember to pick up the damage token. So now the emergency room is infested. And that was the first token that came out of the bag, so nothing happening there. That brings us back into the investigation phase, and Trish's turn will start us down at her play area. Action 1 for Trish is going to be to spend 4 resources to play out Dr. Milan. While I truly pray that this nightmare is just a singular abomination, I must admit that I am exhilarated by the possibility that this is but one specimen of a new genus. 1 health, 2 sanity on Soak. Action 2, she'll investigate. She's up 1. And I think that's where she's going to test. I don't want to start taking horror all willy-nilly. Now that we've got spiders in the encounter deck. That's a -2, so we do fail. Action 3, I'll run the investigation back. And I don't think there's anything here I want to commit. So I guess I will have to take a horror to go up 3. Skull is -1, -3 instead if you're engaged with a staff enemy, but she's not. So that will give Trish a clue and a resource from Milan. And then we're just about done with Trish, but she's got to test her Frozen in Fear first. She's down 1, and Sister Mary will not commit. So Trish is down 1. Elder Sign. Let's take a look at Trish's Elder Sign. Elder Sign is +2. If this is an investigation, you may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. No, I think we're going to investigate. I think we're going to stay at the Experimental Theories ward, which means we're going to grab the clue off that location. That'll give Trish another resource. Oh, wait. No, this wasn't an investigation, so never mind. This was her test for Frozen in Fear, which Frozen in Fear is now gone once again. So I will do it for Trish. Sister Mary can't play assets or events. So, unfortunately, that's all her hand is, but there are also no enemies in play right now. I think action 1, she'll draw a card. She will draw. Blessed Blade. Okay, here's something we can use next turn. 3 cost to play, combat on commit. As an action, if Blessed Blade is at ready, fight. You get +1 combat for the attack. If a Bless or Elder Signs token is revealed during this attack deals +1 damage. Before revealing Chaos tokens for this attack, you may exhaust Blessed Blade to add 1 Blessed token to the Chaos bag. Okay. Well, we're definitely getting all kinds of setup here. Unfortunately, we can't play that, though, because Dissonant Voices is out. I'm going to have to discard if I draw up. So I think Sister Mary's going to investigate for action 2, and we'll take a horror to knock that down to a 2, which is going to make her even. Is there anything Trish wants to commit to this? I don't think there is. And we need the clue, so even. -2 is most definitely not a good pull on that one. Action 3, Sister Mary will just take a resource. We're going to hopefully be able to play a couple of assets out of her hand this turn. But that will do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, still no enemies in play somehow. So we'll reset everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary will gain a resource and go to 8. Trish will gain a resource and go to 5. Sister Mary will draw. Fighting lessons. Combat, agility, wildcard on commit. Commit only to a skill test during an attack or evasion. You may commit this skill to investigator's test at any location. Let me just make sure I don't have to discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we're all good there. Trish will draw. Pilfer. 4 cost to play. Lore, agility on commit. Investigate using agility instead of lore. If you succeed, discover 2 additional clues at your location. Seems pretty useful. Mythos phase before our first Doom on the agenda. Sister Mary will draw. Oh, end of round. Dissonant Voices is gone for Sister Mary. And we've got another Blessed token in the bag. So that brings us up to 4 Blessed tokens in the bag. Let me just count these to make sure. Yep, 4 Blessed tokens. Okay, now that we've got that straight, Sister Mary will draw. Swarm of Spiders. 1/1X swarming 2. Where X is the number of spiders enemies at this location, including swarms. Take a damage on attack. That thing needs to go pronto. Trish will draw. Sickening Webs. Attached to your location. Each spider enemy at attached location gains Retaliate and Alert. Investigators can't move out of attached location. As an action, test Combat or Agility 3. If you succeed, discard Sickening Webs. Oh, that's great. So now we're stuck there until we get rid of that. Then at the end of the Mythos phase, we need to make an infestation test. That's another cultist. Wonderful. Let me just make sure the swarming doesn't happen right away for the swarm of spiders, but I'm pretty sure it does. With swarming X, yep. Place the top X cards of your deck. So now we've got to go get another spider. And that goes at the infested location nearest to any investigator. So we can put that at either the emergency room or the waiting room. That's, Spider of Ling. Let's not pull that one right away. Are there any other? There's another swarm of spiders. Jesus, Mary and the Wee Donkey. Alright, swarm of spiders it is. We'll put another one over at the emergency room. Fortunately, they're not hunters, so Okay. I'll get another 2 cards from Sister Mary's deck, since she's the lead investigator. And that's over at the emergency room. Let's see, swarming. Maybe out to another swarm card or to the host enemy. Okay. Alright, well. The investigation phase is up next, and Sister Mary, as we see, now has a swarm of spiders to deal with. So let's say we drop down to her play area and see what we can do about that swarm of spiders. Okay, kids. Lesson number 1 in dealing with a swarm of spiders. For her first action, Sister Mary is going to show you ghost knives are very good things when dealing with swarms of spiders. This is a spectral razor with the 2 costs to play, combat and will on commit, but we're using it to fight, plus will for your skill value for the attack. Immediately before the attack, you may engage the attacked enemy, except we're already engaged with it. Deals +1 damage, +2 instead if the enemy is non-elite, and the swarm of spiders is non-elite. So we're going to be at an 8 to a 1, we're up 7. Come on. There we are. -2 says all 3 swarms of spiders go bye-bye, and they go bottom of the deck or discard pile. Anytime a swarm card leaves play, bottom of the deck. Okay. Alright, then with the enemy defeated, we'll exhaust Greta Wagner and deal a damage to her. To get the last clue off the experimental therapies ward. Let's see, was this the... Yes, this was the spectral razor. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we had a couple ways to get the last clue off the location, but now we need to deal with trying to get out of the sickening webs. Action 2, though, we're going to take a minute. Actually, that's going to take 3 resources. We're going to play the Blessed Blade out, just so Sister Mary has another way to defend herself. Then action 3, she's going to make the test. She's going to try the test on the sickening webs. We can test either combat or agility, and we're going to test combat. Up 1. Does Trish have a combat she can commit? She does. I think we're going to give her 21 or bust to put her up 2. Trish has plenty of resources right now, so up 2 trying to get rid of sickening webs. Oh! The cultist should have gone back into the infestation bag. Just giving that a quick shake-up, and now we're coming back to the Chaos bag, which is our Cthulhu bag. Actually, that's not Cthulhu, I don't think. Whatever it is. Sister Mary's up 2, trying to get up 2, trying to get rid of that sickening webs. Bless means she's up 4, but we pull again. And we get tentacle touched. Wonderful. So that blessed token's out of the bag, which means we're down to 3. And Sister Mary just got tentacle touch trying to get us out of there. That'll do it, unfortunately, for Sister Mary's turn. Now let's move over to Trish. Action 1 for Trish. She's going to try the test as well. This time, but she's going to be testing agility And she's going to commit... does she want to commit either of these? She's up 1 right now. Let's start with an up 1 test. We know there are blesses in the bag. But we've also got some pretty bad tokens in here. Bless is up 3, but we pull again. Elder Sign, as we saw earlier, is a +2, and it's got effects during investigation. So we'll bring this down to... bring the dial down to 2. But more importantly, we get to discard the Sickening Webs. So that's gone. Action 2 will take us over to the map. Action 2 will move Trish up to the waiting room. I'm not crazy enough to send her into the emergency room. Action 3, she's going to investigate up there. She's up 2. That's an Elder Sign, which, as we saw earlier, this time it is an investigation test. We can only choose revealed locations. Both of our revealed locations are empty, though. So we're going to just grab the clue off the location, which brings us up to 7, 1 away from advancing the act. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the swarm of spiders is not a hunter, but Sister Mary might have to go deal with it next turn. So we'll flip everything over. Greta will also wake up. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource and goes to 4. Trish will gain 1 and go to 6. Sister Mary will draw. Another Storm of Spirits, which could come in handy. Especially if I think we need to go over and kill that swarm of spiders. Trish will draw. Leo De Luca, the Louisiana Lion. 6 cost to play, lore on commit. You may take an additional action during your turn. 2 health, 2 sanity on soak. Takes the already occupied ally slot for Trish. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes up to 2. Sister Mary draws. Oh, and around also... Blessed token going into the bag, which brings us back up to 3. Sister Mary now draws. Outbreak. Perform an infestation test. If we're at an infested location and we're not, treat each rune you reveal it as a skull instead. Wait, I think I might have pulled the wrong token then for the... Because I don't think we had a skull come out. Yeah, we didn't have a skull come out for the infestation test, so we shouldn't have had a swarm of spiders out. Oh well. I'm not going to retcon it now. But that's a cultist, so we've got another infested location. And that's just connected to an infested location. I think we're going to... Oh, that gets set aside. I think now we're going to infest the... I think now we're going to infest the records office. Great. Trish will draw. Spider of Lang, oh joy. 3/4/3. Forced. When the enemy phase ends, add 1 swarm card to each swarm of spiders enemy in play. If there are no swarm of spiders enemies in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a swarm of spiders enemy and spawn it at Spider of Lang's location with no swarm cards. 1 health, 1 sanity on soak. That's going to be fun. Mythos phase end, we do need to make an infestation test. That's a skull, so now we should have a spider enemy out. That's going to go at the location, or that's going to go at an infested location nearest to any investigator. So Trish is now going to be screaming for help. And I think it's going to be a... Looks like the only thing we've got in here is a swarm of spiders. Great. It's a good thing Trish doesn't seem to be afraid of spiders. But anybody who is would probably be terrified in this situation right now. We'll get 2 more swarm cards for the swarm of spiders on Trish. Heading into the investigation phase, Sister Mary is going to start us off, and we're going to move over to the map. Action 1 for Sister Mary. She's making a beeline into the waiting room to try to help Trish out. Action 2, she's going to play out one of her Storm of Spirits. As we saw, this uses will instead of combat, and if you succeed, instead of its standard damage, deals 2 damage to each enemy at your location. Any additional damage is dealt to the attacked enemy, but if you pull a bad symbol, deal 1 damage to each investigator at your location. Sister Mary's going to aim at the swarm of spiders. So she's at a 4-1. And I think that is where she's going to test. Yep. Bless, which means we're up 5, but we continue pulling. Up 7, but we continue pulling. Plus 1. So those 2 come out of the bag. Our counter goes down to, our dial goes down to 1. The Spider of Lang takes 2 damage. Spider of Lang on Trish. But the swarm of spiders are all dead. And Sister Mary will... She's going to grab that last clue. The only question is how. I think she's going to exhaust Greta Wagner and do another damage to her. To get that last clue, but that gives us our 8, which means we'll spend them and advance the act. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 8. Okay. All right, looking for answers. Finds. A promising lead. From hospital records and snippets of hushed conversations, you were able to glean that there was recently another patient in the hospital whose condition closely mirrored that of your friend's. After being comatose for weeks, the patient abruptly and inexplicably awakened just this morning. Baffled, the doctors have quarantined the patient somewhere in the basement of the hospital, below the eastern ward. Put the set-aside stairwell and basement door locations into play. check the current agenda. If it's agenda 2 or 3, make an infestation test. If it's 1, immediately advance to agenda 2. Let's see, the stairwell and basement doors. I'm going to move this over slightly so I can get everything out here. I usually cut the camera away while I'm doing this, but this shouldn't take too long. Let's see. Stairwell is connected there. I'm going to need more location arrows for this. Let's just grab a small handful of those for now. I can always return what I don't need back to the craft tray. We'll put that there, there, and here. Okay. I think that'll work. Those can go back. And we need to make an infestation test because it's agenda 2. And that's a rune, which you get to set aside without effect. So that's fortunate. Alright, then we look at Act 2A, Search for the Patient. You need to learn where this mysterious patient is being kept. If you can find them and speak with them, perhaps they can provide some answers about what is happening to your friends. Objective, if an investigator controls Randolph Carter, advance. Alright, so we're looking for Randolph Carter. Sister Mary has 1 action left, which will be... I think it's going to be trying to take out that spider of Lang so Trish can get her ass moving. Yeah, I think Sister Mary is going to go with a Monster Slayer to fight, dealing +1 damage. She's at 4. I'm going to commit fighting lessons to bring that up to a 6. She's of course going to target the Lang spider. She's up 3, but I don't think I have time to care about friendly fire, especially if I need to get Trish moving. Trish is not going to commit. Sister Mary's up 3, that's where she'll test. Trying to do 2 damage and take out this spider of Lang. A 0 will take out the spider of Lang. Again, we didn't have time to care about friendly fire, so at least we got rid of that. Which means now we won't have the swarm of spiders continuing to swarm out of control. That's it for Sister Mary. We're going to send Trish down the basement to see if we can find Randolph Carter in a hurry. Action 1, she's going to move to the experimental therapies ward. Action 2 to the stairwell. We'll take a look here. Through an unmarked door in the hall behind the experimental therapies ward, a dark staircase leads deeper into the hospital. This flips into stairwell. After you enter stairwell from a non-basement location, move to a basement location, then test agility 4. If you fail, take 2 damage. Forced, after stairwell becomes infested, make an infestation test, victory 1. So we need the 2 clues there. Then we move to a basement location, since we're entering it from a non-basement location. We're going to move to this basement door. We'll reveal that in a second, but we need to make an agility test first. That's a 4. Trish is even, and I think that's where she'll test. She's also at full health. So 2 damage right now isn't something I'm terribly worried about. Okay, we're even. Bless means we're up 2, but we continue pulling. That also empties us of bless tokens in the bag. +1. So we're all clear there. We're down to no blessed tokens in the bag. And let's see what Trish found. We'll look at the basement door unrevealed side first, since they're all the same. One of several unmarked wooden doors in the cold, musty basement of St. Mary's Hospital reveals Shroud of 2 clues. 2 actions. Choose an investigator at your location and test lore 4. If you succeed, heal 3 damage from that investigator. If you fail, deal 1 damage to that investigator. This room seems to have been abandoned mid-surgery. On the operating table lies a deceased patient completely covered in a thin sheet, save for the spindly, spider-like legs emerging from the patient's body. Victory 2. We'll get the 2 clues out for that. And then for action 3, Trish will investigate there. She is testing at she's at a 5 to a 2, she's up 3, and I think that's where she'll test. A 0 gets her a clue off the location and gives her a resource from Milan. So that'll bring her up to 7. That will do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the swarm of spiders is our only enemy in play, but it's not doing anything. So we'll flip everything over here. Reset everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource, goes to 2. I'll adjust the camera there. Trish gains 1 resource and goes to 8. Sister Mary will draw. Runic Axe. Customizable, uses 4 charges. Replenish 1 at the start of each round. As an action, you fight, gaining +1 combat for the attack. Before this attack, you may spend any number of charges to imbue the axe with that many different inscriptions. Either accuracy to get +2 combat for the attack, or power to deal +1 damage. Let me see if I have I should have my customizable sheet for that, even though I don't have anything customized yet. Do I? Do not. I don't think. No, but I will need to get one. Nope. I don't think I pulled it yet because I didn't have any experience to put into upgrades for it yet. Trish will draw. In the Shadows. 0 cost to play, 2 agility, 2 question mark on commit. Trish Scarborough deck only. Fast. Play after your turn begins. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you. Until the end of the round, enemies can't engage you and you can't deal damage to enemies. Helpful to have. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes up to 3. Sister Mary draws. Suspicious Orderly. Hunter, no combat, no health, 2 evade. Hunter, Suspicious Orderly can't attack, be attacked, or be dealt damage. While Suspicious Orderly is engaged with you, you can't investigate. That could be a bit of a problem, but Sister Mary doesn't do much investigation. Trish will draw. Outbreak, performing an infestation test. We're for an infested location and we're not. So we'll be making 2 infestation tests here because we'll be making another one for the end of the Mythos phase. So first for Outbreak. Is a rune, nothing happening. For the end of the... Wait a minute. Let me make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. We need to put a blessed token in the chaos bag as well. I'll update the dial once I finish up the end of Mythos phase infestation test. That's another rune, so nothing happening there. Alright, now that that's all straight, we'll update the Bless dial, which means we have one bless token in the bag right now, the one for Sister Mary's end of round. Investigation phase now, and I think we're going to move back over. I think we're going to move over to Trish at the map once I get a fresh battery in my camera. Action 1, Trish is going to investigate the operating room. She's up 3. That's a 0, so that'll get Trish the last clue off the location and another resource, which will bring her up to 9. Action 2, we're going to move up to the stairwell. And Action 3, we're going to move up to this basement door. We'll see what we reveal here. We find Shroud of 5, 2 clues. As an action, test Will 3. If you succeed, discover 1 clue at this location. If you fail, take a horror. Forced. After the last remaining clue is discovered from the morgue, make an infestation test. That doesn't look human. Victory 2. We'll get the 2 clues out for that. And then that will do it for Trish. Sister Mary's turn. She's got to get away from this orderly, but I think for that, we'll exhaust Dr. Maheswaran to turn our details on that. So now Sister Mary is away from the suspicious orderly, which means now she can get moving. Action 1, she'll move to the experimental therapies ward. Action 2 to the stairwell, which will move her to a basement location down here. But she's got to make an agility test. She's down 1 for that. And I think that's where she'll test. Bless is up 4. Actually, now she's up 2, but she's got to actually... She was down 1 going into that, so she's up 1, but she's got to keep pulling. Elder thing is minus X, where X is the number of infested locations. Right now that's 3. So she's back to failing by 2, which means Sister Mary takes 2 damage. Not a great spot for her to be in right now. But let's see what's on the back of this basement door we find. 4. Shroud of 4, no clues. Action, Parlay, test Will 2. If you succeed, test Lore 2. If you succeed, investigators at this location may spend 1 per investigator or 2 clues as a group to give control of the set-aside Randolph Carter asset to an investigator at this location. The patient you've been looking for sits on a bed in the middle of this dark room. You ask him about his condition, but he merely replies, "Why should I help you? You'd never believe me anyway." Wow. Let's see, that was action 1 to move to the therapies ward, 2 to the stairwell. Action 3, I don't think we have any... We do have the lore to help us out with that test, but we don't have any clues. Trish has our clues right now, so I think she's... if I can get them together... I need to get Sister Mary and Trish together in this next round. So I think... Let's see, the Will 2 test is first. Which I think Trish is probably going to have to come over and make that test. Yeah. So I think for action 3, Sister Mary is going to... Sister Mary is actually going to spend her last 2 resources to play out her Hallowed Mirror, which will get us her copies of Soothing Melody. We'll take a look at the one going into her hand. 0 cost to play, Will, Lore, Agility on Commit. Heal 2 damage or 2 horror, or any combination thereof, from among investigators and or ally assets at your location. draw one card. I'm not actually going to try to pronounce the French on there, at least I presume that's French, until I play it. Plus, my French is, and I'm going to feel old for saying this, over 20 years old. So, yeah, my pronunciation of French is not going to be the best in the world. Alright. Anyway, that ramble aside about my French-speaking skills, that will do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase is suspicious. The suspicious orderly is exhausted, and the swarm of spiders isn't a hunter. So we'll wake everything up. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary will gain 1 resource. Trish will gain 1 and go to 10. Sister Mary will draw. Drawn to the flame. Draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. 0 cost to play, Will and Loron commit. Trish will draw. Lockpicks. 3 cost to play, Loron commit. Action, exhaust lockpicks to investigate, plus agility for this investigation. But if you don't succeed by at least 2, discard lockpicks. It takes up a hand slot. Mythos phase, foredoom on the agenda. Sister Mary draws. Rotting Remains. Revelation test Will 3. For each point you fail by, take 1 horror. A sickening display of gore causes you to retch. You're glad this wasn't you. We're base up 1, and I think that's where she's going to test. Elder sign is... Sister Mary's Elder sign is +1. If you succeed, add a blessed token to the chaos bag. That reminds me, I never put a blessed token in for the end of the round, so we will succeed, which will bring us up to 2 blessed tokens in the bag. And then Trish will draw. Rotting Remains of her own. Unfortunately, Trish is down 1. And I think down 1 is where she's going to test, because I want to use In the Shadows if I can get her over to the private room, if I can get her over to Randolph's room. So Trish is going to have to eat this one, testing down 1. A 0 means she takes 1 horror. Worse things could have happened, I can guarantee you that much. That will do it for Trish. That'll do it for the Mythos phase, where we have to make another infestation test. We've only got 2 tokens left in the bag. One's a rune and the other's a cultist. And we pull out the cultist, of course. So now the experimental therapies ward is infested. And we return everything to the infestation bag. Okay. That could have gone a lot worse, that's for sure. But we're into the investigation phase. Trish's turn is going to take us straight over to the map. Actions 1 and 2 are going to take Trish from the morgue to the stairwell to the private room. And then action 3, she's going to make the parlay test on there. The Will 2 test is probably the toughest one in there. So for the Will 2 test, I'm going to commit In the Shadows to put her up 2, since that would be an even test for her. Does Sister Mary have any will she can commit? She is going to use a Monster Slayer to put Trish up 3. So up 3. Elder Thing is, of course, the number of infested locations, which is a -4. Wunderbar. Now, Sister Mary, who is facing the opposite predicament, she's up on the will test and even with the lore test. The will test is first, so for action 1, Sister Mary will start with the will test. We'll start with the we'll try her luck at the parlay. She's up 2. Skull is -1, -3 instead if you're engaged with a staff enemy, which she's not, so she passes that. Which means now we have the lore test. And she's going to commit evidence. She's going to commit evidence to go up 2. Does Trish have any lore that she can part with? She will part with Leo De Luca to put Sister Mary up 3. -2 is enough to give her control, to give somebody control of Randolph Carter. So let's take a look at Randolph Carter on this side. Randolph Carter, changed to the waking world. 3 cost to play, will, lore, wildcard, and commit. You get +1 will and +1 lore. Reaction: after an Elder Thing symbol is revealed during a skill test at your location, exhaust Randolph Carter to draw 2 cards. 2 health, 3 sanity on soak. For this scenario, he doesn't take up the ally slot, but later on, assuming he gets added to our decks, he will. I think for now, I'm going to give him to Trish. Alright, then somebody needed to control Randolph Carter, so we will advance. Carter's statement. After some persuading, you manage to convince the blonde-haired man to listen to your story. Once you explain to him what has happened to your companions, he shakes his head in solemn understanding. I knew this Virgil fellow would cause trouble. If only I'd convinced him not to write that story. You ask him what he means, and he lets out a long sigh before elaborating. It's all true. All of it. The Dreamlands is real. And I believe that something is causing it to merge with the waking world. That's where all of this is coming from, he explains, motioning to the spider webs in the corners of the room. With your help, I may be able to temporarily stop the infestation from spreading. Then we can investigate this matter further. He rises from his cot and shakes your hand. My name is Randolph, by the way. Randolph Carter. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. First of all, we need to spend the clues from Trish. Then we'll shuffle the discard pile into the deck. Okay, so that's all done. Let's take a look at the new agenda. Agenda 3A, containing the outbreak. With the aid of Randolph Carter, you must attempt to close the rifts that have opened between the Dreamlands and the waking world. Each infested location gains action. Test Lore X to attempt to seal the rift. X is the location's shroud. Investigators may spend 1 per investigator clues as a group to automatically succeed. If you succeed, replace the damage token on this location with a horror token. For the remainder of the game, this location cannot become infested. Objective: if there are no infested locations in play, advance. So as soon as we can stop the experimental therapies ward, as soon as we can clear that infestation, then we won't spread it any further, which is probably the ideal scenario here. So those are gone. Sister Mary still has 2 actions left. Clues would be handy, but I think for now she's going to play Soothing Melody to heal 2 damage or 2 horror from among investigators and or ally assets at her location. Draw 1 card. Edlure Chanson Soumet au clair de lune, au calme clair de lune triste et beau. Paul Verlaine, Clair de Lune. And I'm sure somebody who can speak French a lot more fluently than I can ever hope to will probably cringe at that pronunciation and try to correct it. Anywho, what's relevant to that is Sister Mary's going to heal 2 damage and draw a card, so she will draw. Fighting lessons, which we saw earlier. Then action 3, I'm going to start her moving. We'll move her up to the stairwell. The plan here is I'm probably going to send Sister Mary up to grab the clues at the morgue. Trish can probably grab these. Do I want to grab them on her way out, or do I want to try to... Or do we just want to get moving? That's another option. Either way, Sister Mary's all out of actions, so that will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the suspicious orderly is going to come down to the experimental therapies ward. We still have Dr. Ma has sworn that we can use if we need to get away from that orderly. Just going to double check here. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so we have 2 blessed tokens in the bag. That'll flip everything over here. I'll reset everything. Nothing exhausted over here. And we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource and goes to 2. Trish gains 1 and goes to 11. Sister Mary will draw a machete, 3 cost to play. Action, fight, you get +1 combat for the attack. If the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, this attack deals +1 damage. Would take her other hand slot. Trish will draw another copy of Leo De Luca. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes to 5. Sister Mary will draw Sickening Webs. Oh great, we had this earlier. And now can't move out of attached locations. So Sister Mary's stuck at the stairwell until we get rid of that. Trish will draw a locked door attached to the location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. The attached location can't be investigated. Action to either test Lore 4 or Combat 4 to break down the door, or Agility 4 to pick the locks. If you succeed, discard locked door. So stairwell's got a mess on it right now. Right. So now we have to make an infestation test. That's a cultist, which is a big problem because this is exactly what I was trying to stop. So now we have an infestation on the stairwell, which means we have to make another infestation test. But I think we're in a similar situation, just one location too late, where if we can stop the... Well, let's see what happens on this infestation test, and then I'll finish that thought. That's a rune, okay. So I suspect this thought will make more sense when I move over to the map. Heading into the investigation phase, Sister Mary's turn right now would normally take us over to her play area, but I'm going to finish that thought I was starting earlier in the Mythos phase by moving over to the map. So the thought I was having, and it kind of blew up in my face when the stairwell became infested, is if I could have stopped the experimental therapies ward from, if I could have cleared that infestation there, that meant nothing else would have spread down this way. We're in a similar situation here with the stairwell, though, where if we can clear that infestation and turn that into a horror, then the infestation markers won't get onto these 3 locations, so we won't have to go back and clear those. The only question is, how do we do that? Because now we've got a will test to deal with, but we can spend 2 clues to automatically succeed. Well, I think our first order of business is probably going to be to clear the sickening webs, and that's combat or agility 3, which right now Sister Mary would be up 1. Yeah, let's... I wanted to use that drawn to the flame use this drawn to the flame in Sister Mary's hand at the morgue, but I can't do that now. So right now I'm up 1. I think action 1 is going to be to try to get rid of that sickening web so we can leave. And I'm going to commit the machete to it to go up 2. -1 gets rid of sickening webs. Action 2, I think, given how important it is to try to stop the infestation here so it can't spread any further, I am going to use Drawn to the Flame, which means I'll draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues of my location. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of the black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. H.P. Lovecraft, The Call of Cthulhu. And Sister Mary will draw Swarm of Spiders, Swarming 2. We saw this earlier. And that's going to set me back a turn, but it will discover 2 clues at the location. That can be spent as a group, so when Trish comes in, we could spend those clues, which might still be worth doing. Action 3. We don't have the resources to play Storm of Spirits, which is unfortunate. But I will attack with the Blessed Blade. So I get +1 combat, which brings me up to a 5-1 against the Swarm of Spiders. And I'm going to exhaust the Blessed Blade, add a Blessed token to the Chaos Bag. So that'll bring me up to 2, 4, 6, 7. That'll bring me up to 3 Blessed tokens. So Sister Mary right now is up 4. And if I pull a Bless or an Elder Sign during the attack, I deal +1 damage. So let's see what happens here. That's a 0, which will do 1 damage to the Swarm of Spiders. That's unfortunate, but there's no help for that at this point. That will do it for Sister Mary. Trish, action 1, she'll move up to the stairwell. Action 2, she'll spend Sister Mary's 2 clues to automatically succeed at the test to attempt to seal the rift. So we'll replace that with a horror token. If I can ever find them in here. Oh, here they are. Which means now the infestation can't spread any further in this direction. So at least we've stopped it there. And then action 3. Am I going to send Trish up to try to get those 2 clues, or do I want to get her moving? I think... She is at a she is at 3 will right now, so she'd be down 1 trying to test at the experimental therapies ward. There's also an argument to be made to try to take out this swarm of spiders. Although I'm going to get a little metagamey because I think I know what's coming next. I know it's coming soon. So I think the better plan here... Yeah, we're going to get a little metagamey with it, but Trish is going to move into the experimental therapies ward and make friends with a suspicious orderly. That'll do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, Trish stopped the suspicious orderly from moving since it is a hunter. The swarm of spiders on Sister Mary will deal Sister Mary 2 damage. Alright, the other swarm of spiders isn't a hunter, so it's not doing anything there. So we'll reset everything here. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource and goes to 3. Trish will gain 1 and go to 12. Actually, we're going to swap some of these tokens out. I'm going to swap some of those resources out. There we go. For an envelope of money, that's going to be worth 10 resources. And Trish is up to 12. Sister Mary will draw. Rite of Sanctification. 0 cost to play, lore on commit. Seal up to 5 blessed tokens. If Rite of Sanctification has no tokens sealed on it, discard it. When an investigator at your location plays a card, exhaust Rite of Sanctification and release a chaos token sealed on it. Reduce the cost of that card by 2. And then Trish will draw. Quick Thinking. Wild card on commit. If the skill test is successful by 2 or more, after it resolves, you may immediately take an action as if it were your turn. This action does not count toward the number of actions you can take each turn. Let me make sure nobody has to discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. All good there. Mythos phase, we are advancing the agenda, and here's where I'm gambling on my move with Trish. Let's take a look here. Alright. Hell breaks loose. Suddenly, chaos breaks out in the hospital. The sound of chittering and crashing emerges from the walls. In the darkness, you can barely make out the shapes of bizarre spider-like creatures scurrying in the distance. As you round a corner, you spot an orderly writhing on a polished floor, convulsing violently as though possessed by an insidious force. You rush to his side and flip him onto his back, and find that nearly all of his face is covered in thick webbing, and his eyes are wide and glazed over. He does not react as you shake him. Find each suspicious orderly enemy in play and replace it with a set-aside corrupted orderly enemy. It keeps its game state, all tokens, and all attachments. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for each copy of suspicious orderly and remove them from the game. Shuffle the set-aside Agents of Otlak Naka encounter set, each remaining set-aside corrupted orderly enemy, and the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Add a skull and a cultist to the infestation bag. Alright, so we've got the last skull and the cultist going in the infestation bag. Okay. So we've got the corrupted orderly coming out to replace... Actually, I'm going to get the suspicious orderly out. Let me get those out. Along with the one that's on Trish, and here's where I gambled a little bit. Is that only the 2? For some reason I thought there were more than that. Apparently there's only the 2. Okay. Give that a shuffle. Okay. Suspicious orderly's out of play, and we'll take a look at the corrupted orderly that's taking its place. 2s across the board, Hunter. Forced. When corrupted orderly is dealt 1 or more damage while at an infested location, cancel 1 of that damage. 1 and 1 on attack. Unfortunately, Trish is at an infested location, so I'm gambling on that a little bit. Then we'll take a look at the last agenda, Hospital of Horrors. The entire building has become infested with a sinister evil, something that does not follow the laws of nature. You need to find some way to either stop it or escape it before it consumes you too. Still making an infestation test at the end of the Mythos phase, and each spider enemy at an infested location gets +1 fight and +1 evade. 8 doomed to advance that. Sister Mary will now draw Threads of Reality, attached to the non-permanent, non-weakness asset with the highest printed cost. Otherwise, Threads of Reality gains Surge. We'll be attaching it to something. Treat attached asset as if its printed text box were blank, except for traits and forced abilities. Action, discard an asset you control to discard Threads of Reality. Let's see, that's to with the highest printed cost. That's going on Greta. Okay, that's rather unfortunate, but there's no help for that. Trish will draw Night Terrors. Put Night Terrors into play in your threat area. Forced. After you fail a skill test, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Draw each weakness card revealed this way and remove the other cards from the game. As an action, if Night Terrors is in play in your threat area, test Will 4. After this test ends, discard Night Terrors even if you fail. Joy, joy. Let's see. I don't think we added the end of the round token for Sister Mary, so we'll add a blessed token there. And we'll go up to 4. Once this decides to focus, we'll go up to 4 blessed tokens in the bag. Okay, wonderful. Alright, so now we're ready for the investigation phase. And we're going to see if my gamble paid off with Trish. So let's move down to her play area. The gamble here is that we're going to be able to kill this corrupted orderly pronto. So I think here we're going to spend 3 resources to go down to 9. I'll put that back in its tray. To play Backstab. Attack using agility instead of combat. Deal +2 damage. Which is a good thing here because we're going to be hopefully dealing damage at an infested location, so we'll be canceling 1 of it. Let's see, so we're at 4 right now. I'll commit quick thinking to go to 5 and go up 2, since we are at an infested location. So we're at 5, and I'm not going to use Pilfer for this. So we're up 2. Skull is -1, -3 instead if we're engaged with a staff enemy, and unfortunately, the corrupted orderly is still a staff enemy. So we were at agility, hold on, 4, 5. Yeah, -3 is going to be a 2 to a 3, so we are going to fail that. That plan blew up in my face, so let's look at the top 3 cards of Trish's deck. And those get removed from the game. Delightful. Alright, well. Let's try to evade him, I guess. We're up 1, unfortunately. -4. Wonderful. And we'll try it again. Try to at least evade him so we don't take damage. We're still up 1. Which at least we tied, so we win ties. Which means he's evaded, and that plan very much blew up in my face. That will do it for Trish. Now let's move over to Sister Mary. If Sister Mary has any kind of testing luck like that, she's going to be about done for this campaign. So for done for this scenario. Action 1, I hate to do it, but we got to play a Storm of Spirits here. I need to be able to take this swarm of spiders out. And I think this is my best chance to do it, and be able to do it in one shot. I'm more interested in the one-shot aspect than I am about making sure these guys are gone. So, oh, I forgot I had fighting lessons that I could have committed from any location. I'm not going to rewind that for Trish. So we're at 4-2. I think up 2 is where we're going to test. Come on. Elder Sign, it's a +1. If you succeed, add a blessed token to the bag. So we'll put another blessed token in the bag. And then the Swarm of Spiders is very much dead. That can go on the bottom of Sister Mary's deck. And then Action 2 will bring us over to the map. Action 2, we're going to bring Sister Mary up to the Experimental Therapies ward. Action 3, she's going to try to seal the rift there. She's at even, and I didn't see any will in her hand when I looked. Nope. Does Trish have any will she can give to that? She does not. So, right. So we're at even. But we do have a bunch of blessed tokens in the bag now, so that's something. Something we're going to need, clearly. Because there's a bless, we're up 2, but we draw again. -1. So the blessed token stays out, bringing us down to 4. Down to 4, Phoenix. But the Experimental Therapies ward's infestation has at least been cleared. So we're all good there. That'll do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, thankfully the Swarm of Spiders is not a hunter. The Corrupted Orderly is exhausted. So we'll wake everything up here. I think we'll give the Corrupted Orderly to Sister Mary. We'll probably have a better chance of taking him out. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource. Trish gains 1 and goes to 10. Sister Mary will draw Soothing Melody, which could come in very handy. Trish will draw another Quick Thinking. Mythos phase, Doom on the Agenda goes up to 1. Sister Mary will draw. Frozen in Fear. Oh, delightful. Hopefully not as big a problem for Sister Mary as it was for Trish, although Trish seemed to handle it pretty well. Speaking of Trish, she will draw. Outbreak. Perform an infestation test. And since we're not at an infested location, we don't have to treat each rune as a skull. A rune, so nothing happening. Then the infestation test for the end of the Mythos phase. Also, I've got to put a Bless token in the Chaos bag for Sister Mary's ability. Kind of glad there's one sitting there going, hey Phoenix, why aren't I in the bag? There's a cultist, which actually the infestation's been stopped, so that cultist doesn't really do anything. Because we don't have any more infestation tokens or any more infested locations connected. So I will grab the aforementioned cast, or the aforementioned blessed tokens. We're up to 5 in the bag now. Okay. That'll bring us into the investigation phase. And, we've got 3 more infested locations to clear out. We've also got that swarm of spiders, and we've got this corrupted orderly that we need to deal with. I think our first problem right now is going to be the corrupted orderly, so let's drop down to Sister Mary's play area to see what we can do about him. What we can do is spend 2 actions because of Frozen in Fear to try to shove this Blessed Blade somewhere where the sun don't shine on this corrupted orderly. So we're going to go up to 6 Blessed tokens. Unfortunately, we're not going to be canceling any of the damage. So if we pull a Blessed token, we will take this orderly out in one shot. Bless or an Elder Sign. So let's see what we can do about that. We're up. Actually, before we do that, do we want to commit anything? We don't get the 1 from Greta Wagner. We're at 4. So we're up 1. Do I have any combat? I'm going to commit fighting lessons to go up 3. And Trish is... Actually, Trish is going to commit quick thinking to go up 4. Bless, so that's perfect. Which means Sister Mary's now up. Let's stop and recalculate. So 4, 6, 7, 9. So now Sister Mary's up 6. And we're continuing to pull. A 0. So the Blessed token stays out of the bag. The Corrupted Orderly is dead. We're down to 5 Blessed tokens in the bag. And then we'll quick thinking our way over to the map for an action with Trish. Sister Mary's turn's probably taking us over here anyway, so this works out. Trish's quick thinking will take us up to the waiting room. And then for action 3, Sister Mary will move up to the waiting room as well. Then we've got to try to get rid of this Frozen in Fear. We're testing Will 3. Sister Mary is base up 1, and that's where she'll test. Skull is -1, -3 if we're engaged with a staff enemy, but we're not. So Sister Mary gets rid of Frozen in Fear, and that's it for her turn. Trish now. Action 1, she would be even trying to get rid of the infestation on the waiting room, which She's also got night terrors to worry about. I think it's probably still worth the risk, though. I could commit Soothing Melody to that. But I think we're just going to action 1, even test that. We do have 5 blessed tokens in the bag, so it's not entirely unlikely that we might pull something good. Let's see what happens, though. Tentacle touched. I stand corrected. Let's see, 3 cards, and we are looking at, oh joy, Stubborn Weakness. Delightful. 3/2/2. Prey Bearer Only Hunter. While Stubborn Detective is at your location, treat your investigator as if his or her printed text box were blank except for traits. Despite everything, he still won't believe you had nothing to do with those murders. 1 health on that, 1 damage on attack. Wonderful. Action 2, we need to try to deal with this bozo now. I think we're going to have to try to evade him up to... Yep. Up 2, and Sister Mary I don't think has anything to help with that. Nope. Up 2. Elder Thing is a -3. Pulling another 3 cards out of Trish's deck. More good stuff that I wouldn't have minded keeping. Action 3. I think we take the attack of opportunity to get rid of night terrors. Unfortunately, Trish is down 1. I've let that thing linger for too long. So we're down 1. Doesn't want to focus. There we go. A 0. So we do remove 3 more cards from Trish's deck and draw any weaknesses, which we don't have there. But we do discard night terrors. That was causing us way too many problems. I let that linger for too long. That will do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Stubborn Detective hits Trish for another damage. All kinds of fun. Then we'll flip everything over. And we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains a resource and goes to 2. Trish gains a resource and goes to 11. Sister Mary will draw. Vicious Blow. Combat on commit. If the skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. Trish will draw. Not much of her deck left. Pilfer, which we have in Trish's hand already. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes up to 2. Sister Mary draws. Will of the Spider Mother. Revelation, test Will 3. If there's a spider enemy at your location, you can't commit cards to this skill test. If you fail, you can't attack or investigate until the end of the round. Oh, delightful. I don't think we have... Okay, Sister Mary's up 1. We do have Will in her hand. Not in Trish's hand. I think... As much as I don't like it, I think we are going to have to commit Vicious Melody, or not Vicious, Soothing Melody, and go up 2. Because Sister Mary, I think, is going to... Oh, also, Blessed Token in the bag. Because I prefer Sister Mary to be able to play Hide the Knife and the Clown, a.k.a. the Stubborn Detective. So... let's see what happens here. We're up 2. That's a 0, so Sister Mary can still play hide the knife and the clown. Trish and the detective. Trish draws Frozen in Fear, which is not a great time for that to come up, Trish. Now we gotta make our infestation chest. I changed out the infestation bag to a plain black one because I was having a hard time getting my hand in the other bag. Actually, I wasn't getting my hand in, I was getting my hand out. That was the problem. Rune says nothing's happening, so that's a very welcome set of timing there. That'll do it for the Mythos phase. Investigation phase, and Sister Mary's going to put on her best Jigsaw impression as we move down to her play area. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time to care about friendly fire. So for action 1, she's going to use the Blessed Blade to attack the stubborn detective. We're going to play our aforementioned game of hide the knife and the detective, committing a vicious blow to hopefully take that bozo out in one shot. So we're at 3, 4, 5 to 3. We're up 2 right now, and Trish is going to commit. I've got a plan to put Sister Mary up 3. And we're going to exhaust the Blessed Blade to put another Blessed token in the bag. Come on. There we are. -1 says the stubborn detective is very much dead. Then action 2 will take us over. Actually, I think action 2 is going to be to try to clear the infestation in the waiting room. So Sister Mary's up 1 trying to do that. Do we have any will that we can commit? We do not. Nope. No will here either. So up 2, or up 1. Although we do have 7 blessed tokens in the bag now. A 0 says the infestation's clear in the waiting room. And then action 3 will take us over to the map. Action 3 is going to bring Sister Mary up to the records office. A plaque next to the door of this room reads, Records. Underneath that, another sign warns, Staff Only. Flips into Shroud of 3, 4 per investigator, 2 per investigator clues, so 4. 3 actions. If you're not engaged with any enemies, 1 at a time, take 4 basic investigate actions. Shelves and folders line the walls of this room, and for some strange reason, they are completely waterlogged. You notice that the ceiling is partially collapsed due to the mold and rot, and water drips from the ceiling onto the floor. Webs stick to your shoes with every step you take. Victory 2. That's a Shroud of 3. And that will do it for Sister Mary's turn. Wait. Hide the knife. We hide the knife and the detective. Move. Nope, Sister Mary has an action left, actually. So, Sister Mary will... I don't like the idea of investigating down 1, so I'm just going to take a resource to end her turn there. Trish, for actions 1 and 2, is going to move up to the records office. And then action 3, she's going to spend 4 resources to play one of her... Oh, do I want to use this card, actually? Yeah, I think I do. We're going to pilfer using agility instead of lore, even though her lore right now is a 6. But I mostly want to try to get the multiple clues in one shot. So Trish, that's going to put her up 1. And I don't think Sister Mary has any agility she can give, no. But we're relying on 7 blessed tokens to try to pull 3 clues off this location in one shot. So, YOLO. Shockingly, a 0 will get us there. So that very much worked out in our favor. And now we might be able to go clear the emergency room if the deck doesn't really put the screws to us next round. We can probably go clear that out. But we'll have to see what the deck decides to do. Anyway, that will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the swarm of spiders is not a hunter as usual, so we'll flip everything over. And then we'll move back up top. Oh, Trish has got to test Frozen in Fear. So she doesn't have any will she can commit, and neither does Sister Mary. But we do have a mess of blessed tokens in the bag. Trish is even on that Frozen in Fear test. That's another thing we need to go right here. Frozen in Fear can get out, and it needs to stay out for us to be able to complete the scenario next round. But now that we're all sorted out with that, let's move back up top for the upkeep phase. Sister Mary gains 1 resource and goes to 4. Trish will gain 1 and go to 8. Sister Mary will draw another Rite of Sanctification, which is not particularly useful right now. Trish will draw Dark Ritual, 1 cost to play, lore on commit. Seal up to 5 curse tokens. Forced at the end of the Mythos phase, you must either spend a resource or discard Dark Ritual. Mythos phase, Doom on the agenda goes up to 3. Sister Mary will draw a locked door attached to a location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. The attached location can't be investigated, so we saw this earlier. Trish draws. Actually, no. That would go... Most clues. That would actually go on the morgue. Here's Trish's encounter card. She will draw a Grey Weaver. Oh boy. So it spawns engaged with Trish, but it would be looking for Actually, yeah, it would be looking for Sister Mary. Okay, so let's take a look at Grey Weaver. 4/5/3, which is actually 5/5/4. Hunter, while Grey Weaver is ready, each investigator at its location can't take move actions. Victory 1, 1 health, 2 sanity on attack. Yikes. We need to get away from him pronto, then. Right. The question is, can we kill him? And the answer to that is almost certain to be no. So I think we're going to have to try to evade him and then Gitvo. Yeah, we're going to have to evade him, I think. Unfortunately, that is going to set us back a turn, but I don't think it's going to be catastrophic. Anyway, into the investigation phase, Trish's turn will take us down to her play area. The Grey Weaver was hardly a welcome distraction. Unfortunately, we need to get away from him. So, for action 1, I'm going to try to evade committing Pilfer to the test to put Trish up 1. So I'm basically relying on the fact that I've got a mess of blessed tokens in the bag to try to get away from this thing. Cultist is nothing good. Cultist is... Reveal another chaos token. If you fail in its agenda 2 or 3 and its agenda 3, make an infestation test. Okay. -1 says, fortunately, we don't fail. Action 2 will take us over to the map. Okay, so I'm going through a little bit of a thought here. I've got 2 actions left for Trish. The question is, do I think I can risk getting a clue, getting that last clue off the location? I definitely don't want to be at that location at the end of the turn. So the question is, do I risk another action to get a clue and end up down at the waiting room, or do I just get her out now and trust Sister Mary to be able to pass the will test? Unfortunately, Sister Mary is only up 1 on the will test. If Sister Mary had a way to get clues in her hand, I would feel a lot better about leaving that clue there. I think I've got to try to get that clue. So for action 2, Trish is going to investigate. She's up 3, trying to get that clue. -1. Okay, that plan worked out. So we did get the clue. And Trish will get a resource from Milan going up to 9. Action 3, she's going to Gitfo the records office and move down to the waiting room. Sister Mary's facing a shroud of 3 on trying to seal that rift, so she's going to do that. She's going to try to seal that. She's up 1, and I don't think she has any will she can commit. She does not. Skull is -1, -3 instead if you're engaged with a staff enemy, but we're not. So that location is now cleared of infestation. Action 2, Sister Mary's going to Gitfo as well. Action 3, I think she is going to... She's going to draw a card. So Sister Mary... Yeah, she's going to draw a card. Sister Mary will draw. 1-2 punch. 2 cost to play. Combat on commit. Fight with +1 combat for the attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again, getting +2 combat and dealing +1 damage for that attack. Okay, that was Sister Mary's 3rd action. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Grey Weavers are only a hunter, but he's exhausted. The swarm of spiders isn't moving. So he'll wake up. I'll reset everything. And then when we move back up top for the upkeep phase, I'll have a new battery again. Sister Mary will gain 1 resource and go to 5. Trish will gain 1 and go to 10. Sister Mary will draw. Another 1-2 punch. Trish will draw. Deduction, which is not particularly useful right now. Mythos phase, we go up to 4 doom on the agenda. Sister Mary will draw. Sickening webs. Oh, great. We have this again. Kind of changes my plans a little bit. Trish draws. Dissonant voices. Okay, so our new first So our new first order of business is getting rid of the sickening webs. The question is, Trish has the clues, but we can spend them as a group. I do not want to be here when that Grey Weaver comes by, so... that could either be an agility or a combat test. Trish is up 1 on agility. Sister Mary could get up... Would be at even, actually. That's not a great spot for her to be in. Does Trish doesn't have agility. And Sister Mary... Well, Sister Mary's got combat that she could commit to it. Because right now she's at... Right now she'd be at even. Trish is the one who needs to get in there ultimately. So let's... Either one would be up 1. I think we're going to have Sister Mary go first, and we're going to move over to the map. For action 1, I'm going to... I don't like this idea, but I don't think we put the chaos token in the bag for Sister Mary's end of round. I've been horrible about remembering that. Action 1... I need the combat from Greta, so I'm going to discard the Blessed Blade so I can discard Threads of Reality, because I need the +1 combat that Greta gives me. Action 2, we're going to test on Sickening Webs, and we're going to test combat. Right now, she's up 1. I'm going to commit the Runic Axe. Do I want to just test up 1? Because right now, actually, I think up 1 right now is probably fine. Because we're not engaged with a staff enemy, and we only have 1 infested location left, which would end the scenario. So I think testing up 1... Oh, we didn't do the infestation for the Mythos phase. That we also forgot. Rune. Okay, so nothing changes. So now that brings us back to our dilemma of... Do we commit anything, or... I think we start off with an up 1 test. I think we'll start off with up 1, then we'll look at committing cards, because we really need this clear. And up 1 is probably fine with the number of bless tokens we've got in the bag. Up 3, but keep drawing. A 0. Perfect. So we go down to 7 blessed tokens in the bag. Sickening Webs is gone. Action 3, Sister Mary will move into the emergency room and make friends with a swarm of spiders. That'll do it for Sister Mary's turn. Trish's is going to be very simple. Move in for action 1. Action 2, she would initiate the test, but she'll spend the 2 clues to auto-succeed and clear the infestation on the emergency room, which will also let us advance. So we're advancing the act. The next step. With the final rift sealed, the infestation ceases and the hospital returns to normal. Good work, Randolph says. Still, I believe this matter warrants further investigation. We do not know what caused this to happen. You remind him that there is also the matter of your companions, who still refuse to wake. Yes, of course. That too. Come, let us go somewhere private where we can discuss what our next step should be. Sadly, I do not believe there is anything more we can do to aid your friends here. You don't know if Randolph means here as in the hospital, or here as in the waking world. But either way, it doesn't bode well for your companions. Check the campaign log. If Dr. Maha's Sworn joined the investigation and she was in play when the scenario ended, R1. If Dr. Ma has sworn joined the investigation and she was not in play when the scenario ended, R2. If Dr. Ma has sworn stayed with her patients, R3. Dr. Ma has sworn joined us and she was still in play. So that will bring us up top for R1. Phoenix Knight of the Past, take it away.
Resolution 1. Before you depart from the hospital, Dr. Ma has sworn announces that she's going to check on her patients, and you decide to join her. You head back to the emergency ward and find that your companions are still unconscious. Dr. Ma has sworn checks their eyes, takes their pulses, and shakes her head. It's even worse than before. Whatever internal stimuli they are reacting to, they are causing the patient's minds and bodies a great deal of stress. She sits down next to one of her patients and shakes her head. I'll stay here. You go talk to that patient and get to the bottom of this, okay? Oh, and if you find any more of those spiders, squash one for me, please. As you leave, you swear to your sleeping friends that you will get to the bottom of this and save them. In your campaign log, record Dr. Ma has sworn is alive. Your companion's condition has worsened. If you are playing the Web of Dreams and the Dream Quest as an interconnected 8-part campaign,
which we are,
record in Campaign A's campaign log, the dreamers grow weaker. In your campaign log, record Randolph escaped the hospital with the investigators. Any one investigator may choose to add Randolph Carter, change to the waking world, the Dream Eater's card number 79, to their deck. This card does not count toward that investigator's deck size. Skip to Resolution 5.
Before we head to Resolution 5, I think Randolph Carter, chained to the waking world, is a little bit of a harder decision, and I'm open to being wrong on this one, but I'm going to give him to Trish. Once again, if you think I should give him to Sister Mary, you can make a case in the comments down below. But my initial instinct is this Randolph should go to Trish. I don't think it doesn't seem like it's going to be as snap a decision as Randolph Carter, Expert Dreamer, was in giving him to Jenny. This one I think I'm a little more open to being wrong, but looking at the stats on Expert Dreamer, I think that was a snap, give him to Jenny. Anywho, that's enough rambling for me. Now let's go to Resolution 5.
Waking Nightmare, Resolution 5. You depart from the hospital with the blonde-haired man in tow, and he introduces himself more fully. The man, whose name is Randolph Carter, tells you that he is a dreamer, like Virgil Gray and your friends, one with the ability to traverse the divide between the waking world and a parallel dimension that was created by, is sustained by, and dwells within the dreams of all living organisms on Earth, a realm he calls the Dreamlands. It is a place of both dreams and nightmares, he explains, and I'm afraid your friends are trapped there as we speak. You ask if there is anything you can do to aid them. Randolph ponders this for a moment, then replies, normally, dreamers can return to the real world simply by willing themselves awake. But for some reason, your friends are unable to do so. If you truly wish to help them, you too must enter the Dreamlands and find them. But forcing your way into the Dreamlands is not easy. Such paths are usually accessible only to experienced dreamers and only in sleep. Still, there are some places where the Dreamlands touch the waking world, and in those places, with the right tools, you may enter the Dreamlands in your physical body. I know of such a place not far from here. However, before Randolph is able to finish his sentence, he is interrupted by a mysterious voice. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X of each card in the Victory display. Remove the infestation bag and all infestation tokens from the game. There is no need to keep or record them. If you are playing the Web of Dreams as part of a four-part campaign, proceed to Interlude 1, The Black Cat. If you are playing the Web of Dreams and the Dream Quest as an interconnected 8-part campaign, and you have not yet played Scenario 1A, Beyond the Gates of Sleep, proceed to that scenario. And you have already played Scenario 1A, Beyond the Gates of Sleep, proceed instead to Interlude 1, The Black Cat.
We, of course, played Scenario 1A, Beyond the Gates of Sleep, last week with the Dreamers. So, that brings us on to Interlude 1, The Black Cat. And as usual, any background noise you're hearing is me starting to clean up. So, let's go to Interlude 1, The Black Cat.
Dream Eater's Interlude 1, The Black Cat. If you are playing both the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected campaign, or if you are playing the Dream Quest Campaign A by itself, proceed to the Black Cat 1. If you are playing the Web of Dreams Campaign B by itself, skip to the Black Cat 3. The Black Cat 1. Following Scenario 1A, the Dreamers travel beyond the Enchanted Woods. As you travel out of the Enchanted Woods, you pass through rolling green meadows under a bright blue cloudless sky. You speak with a blonde-haired man who introduces himself as Randolph Carter for several hours along your journey south. You pass through a town Randolph calls Near, and over a stone bridge spanning a wide river. Since the man seems friendly and knowledgeable about both your world and this one, you explain to him your situation, that you had followed the writings of a man named Virgil Gray to reach this strange land, in order to see for yourself the truth of his story. There is a place in Ulthar where you may yet meet this man for yourself, Randolph responds. When you reach Ulthar, I will show you. The town of Ulthar is not quite what you had imagined. The border of the town is marked by a cobblestone road separating its quaint cottages from the rolling green meadows beyond. Inside the town, narrow cobbled streets are filled almost to capacity with cats of all kinds and colors, which part as you approach. Old peaked roofs and overhanging upper stories arch over the hilly streets. The entire village seems a haphazard cluster of homes and old-fashioned businesses. As you reach the town square near the center of the village, Randolph stops and addresses you with a youthful smile. "Welcome to Ulthar," he proclaims. "As I mentioned before, you are quite safe here. There's but one paramount law to keep in mind as you traverse this place. In the town of Ulthar, no one may kill a cat." Given how utterly packed the streets are with cats, you wonder aloud if this is indeed a town run by cats. Not quite, Randolph. Not quite, Randolph replies, pondering your words, though I suppose one might call it the center of cat society here in the Dreamlands. The reason for that law's existence is a story for another time. First, come. I have a feeling we'll find this Virgil fellow you speak of at Einar's. Randolph leads you through the town square, which is surrounded by buildings adorned with cat motifs in the form of statues, signs, and even stained glass windows. You eventually arrive at one such building bearing a sign that reads Einar's Place. Inside is a medieval-style tavern filled with long wooden tables. You spot several patrons and 3 times as many cats. One such patron at the wooden counter feeds one of the cats small strips of dried meat. He is a handsome man in his early 30s. With short dark hair, a strong jaw, and sharp cheekbones, you recognize him instantly as the writer Virgil Gray. In the back of your mind, you wonder if this chance meeting is merely an act of fortune or something preordained, for good or for ill. Regardless, you approach the man and introduce yourself, along with Randolph. Virgil shakes your hand and Randolph's with a joyful smile. "Well met, fellow dreamers," the writer says, a hint of boyish excitement in his voice. "It is wonderful to meet more fellow believers. I had become so sick and tired of reading about my supposed illness in the papers." You nod your head in agreement and inform Virgil that you intend to find some proof of this discovery to bring back to the waking world. "Don't you think I tried that?" he replies, stymied. "Sadly, it is impossible for one who is asleep to bring anything from this realm into the real world. This is all imagination, you see. Ideas, concepts, fantasies. You cannot hold a thought in your hands, can you?" Randolph interjects. "There is a place within the Dreamlands that may hold the proof you seek. I have seen it in my dreams. I visited there 3 times, each time just a fleeting moment before I was snatched away by the rising sun. But try as I might, I cannot find the way again. I have spent many nights searching." "Oh?" Virgil asks, intrigued. "And what is this place?" "It is a marvelous city," he describes, his eyes aglow with wonder. "Golden and lovely like nothing I have seen before or since. A city beyond the peaks of the unknown mountain Kadath, where no one has ever set foot before. There, veiled within the clouds and crowned by stars, lies the Onyx Castle of the Great Ones." Virgil idly pets the cat on the countertop next to him as he is absorbed by Randolph's tale. It is a slender creature with lustrous black fur, dark as the void of space itself. "Then we must find this place. Even if it does not have the proof we seek, it sounds like the adventure of a lifetime. Enough to fill 100 pages, or more." You tell Virgil and Randolph that before you commit to such an adventure, you must return to the waking world and tell your companions about your experiences. Just then, another voice, cryptic and quiet, chimes. "Oh, you can't wake up. The eye is upon you now." You and the others spin your heads around, searching for the source of the voice. The barkeeper? Another patron? Then Virgil's black cat stretches and sits up, its piercing yellow eyes reflecting the light of the sun through the window outside. I have waited a long time for you to seek Kadath, it says. You can talk, Virgil says, nearly toppling over his stool as he jumps in surprise. I'm a cat, you dolt. Of course I can talk, the black cat replies, licking its paw out of boredom. You have met 1,000 cats from Ulthar, and now you are surprised? But I thought... Virgil wipes his brow with his palm. Never mind him, the black cat says, addressing you directly. I assure you, you cannot cross back into the waking world until you find Kadath. It is your only way out. In the meantime, I will return and tell your companions about the quest ahead of you. It hops off the countertop and walks confidently toward the exit, though I imagine their task will be even more arduous. If you are playing both the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as interconnected campaigns, proceed to the Black Cat 2. Otherwise, the enigmatic cat vanishes out the door before you get the chance to respond. Proceed to Scenario 2A, the search for Kadath. The Black Cat 2. What shall I tell your friends in the waking world? The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. Tell your companions of your quest, your plight, and your peril. The Black Cat will return to you once this message is delivered. This may put an undue burden on your companions. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record the Black Cat delivered news of your plight. Tell your companions about your new friends and about the Dreamlands. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record the Black Cat shared knowledge of the Dreamlands. Tell your companions that they are in danger and that you are safe. The Black Cat will stay with them once this message is delivered. This might make your quest a little more difficult. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record the Black Cat warned the others. You don't trust this creature one bit. You threaten the Black Cat, warning it not to approach your friends under any circumstance. The Black Cat yawns and vanishes out the door. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record, okay, fine, have it your way then. Proceed to the Black Cat 3.
Okay, so we're not proceeding to... Oh, we are proceeding to the Black Cat 3. I also forgot to mention that Sister Mary and Trish both picked up 10 experience from this scenario. It was from all of the empty locations. Anyway, Black Cat 3.
If the Black Cat delivered news of your plight...
Whoop, hang on. Something's... Oh, Black Cat 3 intro.
The Black Cat 3. Following Scenario 1B, the investigators are confronted outside St. Mary's Hospital. You must be their friends, the enigmatic voice says from above. To your surprise, the quiet voice belongs not to a person, but to a black cat that lounges lazily across a tree branch hanging over the path outside the hospital. Oh, pick your jaws up off the ground and listen. The cat rises and leaps onto the top of a nearby fence, walking along it with the kind of grace only cats possess. It is one of the cats of Earth's dreamlands, Randolph proclaims, his voice tinged with merriment, like he was meeting an old friend for the first time in ages. How long it has been since I've spoken with one of your kind? The cat's piercing yellow eyes glare at Randolph for a moment before it returns its gaze to you. Sure. In any event, I bear a message from your dreaming friends. Choose the campaign log for the Dream Quest campaign, or check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Choose and read the section below that applies to your situation.
So we never decided what message that we were sending to the waking investigators. I know the one message I'm not sending to them is to tell the cat to get bent. Because we're in its world, and we can use all the help we can get, honestly. So, that begs the question of what message are we sending them? We can either tell the black cat that about our peril in the Dreamlands, tell them about our new friends and about the Dreamlands, or tell them that they're in danger, that we're safe. Honestly, I probably want to, given the way the scenarios went, I would probably rather keep the cat with the dreamers than with the waking investigators. But I did that last time that I was going through the Dream Eaters. Because I kept because if you remember back to the very first campaign I ever did on the channel, I played Lola and Harvey as the dreamers in that campaign. It was Jenny and Ursula on the waking side. But Lola and Harvey were having all kinds of problems, so they pretty much needed the black cat glued to their side. Jenny and Luke picked up 6 experience. I probably would have gotten more if Luke hadn't been so close to taking a mental trauma in that first scenario. So honestly, I think at first glance, they're both sides seem to be doing fine. With maybe a little more experience on this side, Sister Mary and Trish seem to be fine so far. So, I think the message we're going to send them is Black Cat sharing the knowledge of the Dreamlands. So, let's proceed to that.
If the Black Cat warned the others...
Not warning the others, which means I'm going to record in campaign log A. Black Cat shared knowledge of the Dreamlands. So now we got to find that one.
If the Black Cat delivered news of your plight...
Nope.
If the Black Cat shared knowledge of the Dreamlands... The Black Cat tells you all about the Dreamlands and about the quest your friends are about to embark upon. Your friends are in a safe place in the Dreamlands, along with a couple of others. My pet human, Virgil, is one of them. Yes, that Virgil. I see the looks on your faces. They're also with another dreamer, a man named... Hey, wait a minute. The cat glares suspiciously at Randolph, then yawns. Huh. You know what? Never mind. I have to check on something. With that, the cat suddenly departs. In both campaign logs, record the Black Cat has a hunch.
Okay. So now we go to the end.
Once the relevant entry has been read, if you are playing both the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as interconnected campaigns, proceed to either scenario 2A, The Search for Kadath, or 2B, 1,000 Shapes of Horror. Otherwise, proceed to scenario 2B, 1,000 Shapes of Horror. Interlude 2.
Okay, that's enough out of you. I'm just finishing making my notes in the campaign log. So, plot twist. We've got a Randolph Carter on both sides. But that's going to be an adventure for the next 2 weeks. That's going to be a thought for the next 2 weeks. That will do it, though, for this playthrough of Waking Nightmare. Later today, we're going to have the first round of upgrades for the campaign. Then Wednesday, we're playing game number 3 on my Attack of Wargaming list, as we play Meg 23 Guadalcanal from Historic Wings. Saturday will feature the entree out of the Dungeon Meister cookbook on Mystical Munchies as we make Diamond Soul Food. As for next week, we're back to the Dreamers to continue the spring campaign with their second scenario, The Search for Kadath. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.